Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newest edition of Dale Center NASCAR betting here on YouTube. I know it's been a couple weeks. It's been a weird couple weeks for me. I've got no excuses to make. I'm just glad we're back here on YouTube. If I help you win some money this weekend, please like, share, subscribe to the channel here. And it has been a tough last couple weeks in terms of our betting performance at Dover and Indianapolis. But Iowa, I feel like we're going to right the ship for the NASCAR Cup Series and the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and I think I might be betting on qualifying. We'll talk about that here shortly, but be sure to check out our friends over at advanced.gg. We got personal shakers on the way with my face on them. They look fantastic. Mine's supposed to get in tomorrow. I cannot wait to see it. Use promo code DALE to get 10% off of your premium performance supplement today, as well as that shaker whenever I can show it to you, hopefully the next day or so. Grid Rival, use promo code DALE to get a 100% deposit matching bonus up to $100 when you sign up today and play the picks game. I've made a lot of money on the picks game this year in limited action, so be sure to check that out as well. And of course, to see the bets with specific unit allocations, dubclub.win. I've teamed up with them for all of 2025 to deliver winning NASCAR bets all season long, except for the last couple weeks and at Mexico. My two worst weekends of the year were Mexico and Dover. Last week we kind of minimized the damage. Shout out Lane Riggs, Ryan Preece. But we know last week was, at least for Xfinity, not real racing. Cup race, Xfinity race, rain shortages, rain problems, rain delays. I told you guys, if rain is involved, go ahead and just pencil me in for a loss. It just doesn't matter. If there is rain in the area and it impacts a NASCAR race, it never, ever, ever helps me out. One of these days, I would like to be helped out by rain. Hopefully no rain in the forecast this weekend for Iowa. We've got Xfinity practice and qualifying, followed by Cup practice and qualifying on Saturday morning, starting around 10 a.m. I believe, 10:30 Central Time. So kind of that normal time slot that we see for practice and qualifying. And you go back and watch the sessions last year, at least for Cup, pretty straightforward because we got a repaved racetrack, like a half repaved racetrack. It's so weird, but you're not going to see anybody run outside of the repaved area. It has a lot of grip, really fast. I don't anticipate a big fall off or a big deviation from that in 2025. I think it's going to have a lot of grip. I think it's going to be really fast. I think with temperatures around the 70s, low mid 70s, I think you're going to see fast laps at the end of the qualifying session. I don't think this is going to be like a Bristol, where somebody goes out on track, wins the pole, like the 8th car out. I think there's been a few races like that in 2025. I do think qualifying is going to be more straightforward than a lot of other races in 2025. Excuse me. So when we look at qualifying odds, I'll go ahead and start with that, and then we'll move over to Xfinity and then back to the Cup race. Odds for the Iowa Corn 350. I'm looking at qualifying odds on Bet Rivers. I'm going to pull up ESPN as well. I know a lot of you guys talk about ESPN. Somehow you're not limited to like $2.50 to bet. But we're going to pull up qualifying odds on ESPN Bet as well and compare. Briscoe's on the pole. I'll go ahead and tell you right now. I would put my retirement fund on it. I don't think Chase Briscoe is going to win the pole. I do not think Chase Briscoe will win the pole this week. Most of his success has been on mile and a halves. I think it's going to change this weekend. First guy, he goes out dead last. Kyle Larson 4-1. I'm big on Kyle Larson this week. You guys have probably seen that if you subscribe to the Dub Club, to the Dale Club. I bet on him yesterday to win the race. I'm thinking about it for qualifying too. This car was on rails in 2024. They just had issues and lost their track position. They got swept up in a wreck, but they were the only team that I think had something for Ryan Blaney here in 2024. And I think in terms of qualifying, 4-1. Hate to say it, but I think it's worth it. I think Kyle Larson could go out here, win the pole, dominate the race, and just this truly has stink up the field, stink up the race type of potential for Kyle Larson this weekend. Sticking with qualifying, I like William Byron at 5-1. Kind of goes out pretty late. I think he's in like the final 12 drivers to go out. Something's got to change for this 24 team. They are a good qualifying team. They're a good race team, but they have just had horrific luck. They just cannot get over this long summer slump, but they have had the speed. So you want to turn that into an 11-1 outright on FanDuel? Could be worth it. It is a bet that I've thought about. Well, now it's 8.5-1. It was 11-1. Let me see what the best price on buy. That's still, I think, the best price. DraftKings might have 9-1, and they do. You can see Byron have, I think, some shrinking potential here heading into the weekend with a good qualifying effort, and I think he's going to have one. So 5-1 for Byron, 4-1 for Larson, 10-1 for Carson Hocevar. He has a good draw in qualifying, goes out late. We know the raw speed that this dude has. Think about the car. Hendrick affiliate, right? Hendrick satellite, basically. I feel like they could come out and qualify with their satellite teammates, with William Byron and Kyle Larson. I just have a feeling that the Chevys, the Hendrick Chevys, the Hendrick affiliated Chevys are going to be really good all weekend long. And, I mean, your best sample, your best method of research is this race in 2024, because it is a very bizarre track right now, being like a big Richmond with more banking and an insane amount of grip, as you see behind me, because of this repaved surface. So, you know, you can look at some short tracks, you can look at some flat tracks as some sort of basis to get an idea for this weekend. But I still think the best bet is to look at the race in 2024 because of the circumstances that I just laid out. So I think 3 bets for the poll: Kyle Larson, William Byron, Carson Hocevar, and Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece is going to be a big talking point. I already know it's not going to go well on Sunday, because I said this a few weeks ago with Carson Quapple. When everybody's betting on a particular person, and a few weeks ago at Dover, everybody was betting on Carson Quapple and Xfinity. He went out there and did literally nothing. This week, I'm convinced everybody, even before me, putting a bet in on Ryan Preece. I already got the 50-1. I got the top 5. I think there's just too many people betting on Ryan Preece. We just don't win. We just don't win when everybody bets on him. So what I'm asking is, let me bet on Ryan Preece, and you fuck off and bet on somebody else, respectfully. Let me bet on Ryan Preece. You can listen to the advice and say, look, this is why Preece is going to be good this weekend, but let me take control of this, and you be the bigger person, and let me bet on Ryan Preece, and you go bet on Joey Gase. With all due respect, I can't reiterate enough. No, Ryan Preece, 22-1 to win the poll, I think is a great bet. He has a good draw in qualifying, going out late. You know, if the narrative was too good to be true for him to win this race, what would he do? He'd qualify on the pole and collapse at some point on Sunday, right? Like, we got to fuel the narrative with what he said earlier this week. Now he's on the outside looking into the playoffs with Bubba Wallace winning at Indianapolis. He said he wants to go to Iowa and not just win, but kick their asses. Well, what's the first step to get everybody fueled up to believe you in that? The first step would be qualify on the pole. And not just a narrative here. We've seen that 60 team. They've come out to a variety of different racetracks and had legitimate qualifying speed. And they have been, in my opinion, I mean, Chris Buescher is just, where is he? Where's Chris Buescher? I need him to cash an over 0.5 win preseason ticket, and he's fucking nowhere, respectfully. Ryan Preece has been the guy. He's been good on road courses, 1.5 miles, some of the short tracks, super speedways, ran second at Talladega before he got DQ'd. I mean, Preece has been the guy for RFK, in terms of consistency. He floats in and around the top 10. He creeps up into the top 5 out of nowhere. And he's just he's just proven that he is a good quality race car driver who belongs in the Cup Series when he's been given good equipment. So I think even though Buescher is ahead of him in points, Ryan Preece has been better this summer. I mean, he has. So 22-1. If I bet on qualifying, that's what I'm thinking. Byron, Larson, Hocevar, Preece. I think it's a pretty good qualifying betting card for this weekend. Now let's move on to Xfinity. I placed a couple bets yesterday. I'll go ahead and tell you about them right now. The NASCAR Xfinity Series HyVee Perks 250. Justin Allgaier, Connor Zilisch, man. Plus, I mean, 2.25, 275 on Bet Rivers, 285. That's crazy, man. Okay, so hear me out. Justin Allgaier, I just feel like we have this conversation over and over and over again. To me, it comes down to his conversion rate. How often, when Justin Allgaier is a favorite, or even a co-favorite, how often does he actually win in that spot? I know somebody who has more time than me and is smarter than me. Not hard to do that second part, but somebody is capable of producing research on how many times he has won as a heavy favorite before practice and qualifying. I would be very, very confident in the idea that the conversion rate of him winning in those spots is not worth betting him at these prices. There's not enough validation there. I'm like 99.9% confident that the math would math up on that. We're not betting on Allgaier. Now, at this point, there's going to be people that bet on Connor Zilisch no matter what, because at this point, you're just riding the hot streak or you're not. I'm not. We'll see what happens in practice and qualifying, but kind of a weird situation because you have two Cup guys in the field based upon randomness. You know, Carson Hocevar's filling in. Josh Berry's been released from Colleague. So you got Hocevar in the 11 car, which has been under Josh Williams, a 20th to a 25th place race car all year long. That's interesting. Hocevar has now shown up on BetMGM. He has not shown up on FanDuel. I'll check DraftKings, but last night they still were not there. And then you have Austin Dillon filling in, and DraftKings has updated it, by the way. DraftKings does have him. You have Austin Dillon filling in for Austin Hill because Austin Hill threw a temper tantrum, right rear hooked Almirola. He gets suspended for 1 week. So you've got two Cup guys in the race based upon pure last second circumstance. And then you have Chastain in a JRM entry. So tough, right? Kind of tough here on this entire board with these Cup guys and a lot of uncertainty between Hocevar and Austin Dillon on how they might perform. You know, this isn't a track I expect RCR to be great at, but Austin Dillon was a really good short track racer when he was in the Xfinity Series. I feel like he could be a threat. But I took two bets yesterday, two outrights. I took Sam Mayer, who won this race last year, 12-1. I love drivers that are knocking on the door. Sam Mayer is in that category. He is knocking on the door. This is the place for him. I said it last week at Indy, you know, and he finished second. But again, this is the place he could come back, come out, get back on track, get a win for Ford and for Haas, given his expertise on short tracks at his age. And he's just a winner. Like, Sam Mayer is a winner. It's shocking he hasn't won yet this year. I think there's a clear slight downgrade in performance from Haas after their organizational changes, rebranding from SHR. I think there's a little bit of there's just a little bit of a downgrade in their equipment, their performance, their people. I'm not sure, but Sam Mayer 12-1 after a second place at Indy. He's knocked on the door of winning at a few different racetracks in 2025. This could be the one. I've got a unit on it. And I went ahead and took Brandon Jones as well. You can get 15-1 on DraftKings, 16-1 on Bet Rivers. Those are your two best prices. I got 14-1 on FanDuel. This feels like it could be a Brandon Jones weekend, doesn't it? I mean, Joe Gibbs has been amazing at this racetrack over the years. Remember, Xfinity's been racing at Iowa for a long time now. Gibbs, JGR have performed extremely well over the years here. They've won many races with a lot of good drivers. Maybe Brandon Jones isn't on par with some of those drivers, but kind of a gut play. You know, just feels like a race where Brandon Jones can sneak up on. Anything else for this race? Oh, one more. I'm sorry. Carson Kvapil, 34-1. Carson Kvapil, 34-1. I think it's worth it. Just because of the price. And JRM equipment, we're all going to forget about him. He's kind of been slumping, hasn't been running super great. Got involved in a wreck at Indy. We know Carson Kvapil from success on short tracks. So give me Carson Kvapil. And I lied. I'm going to have to check if I actually bet on Brandon Jones. I don't remember if I did. I think I only bet on Mayer and Kvapil, and I looked at Brandon Jones. I stared at it. I think I had it, and I didn't pull the trigger. So let me make sure I correct that. For sure, bet on Mayer and Kvapil. Did not bet on Brandon Jones. He's kind of a lean at this point, but I might bet on him. I might do it. I might do it this weekend, or I might do it tonight or tomorrow morning before practice and qualifying. I think at 15-1, it could be worth it. The guy has also been a great qualifier. I mean, he's got pole potential, and if that happens, he won't be 14-1 anymore. He won't be 15-1 anymore. So, three guys: Mayer, Kvapil, Brandon Jones, and then everything else, I'm waiting for practice and qualifying. We'll see who's fast. I think in both Xfinity and Cup, practice is going to tell the tale. I think the lap averages are going to be really, really important and very indicative of who's got speed and who doesn't. So keep that in mind leading into the weekend. Now we shift our focus to the Cup Series. Iowa Corn 350 at Iowa. Shocker, I know. Iowa Corn 350. Yeah, this isn't a race in Delaware, if you couldn't figure that one out. No, look, this is... I went back and watched a race last year, and I actually kind of liked it. I think last year's race is pretty good. There's a little bit of energy, too, because now the Cup Series is back on NBC. We know how good their production quality is. I love Lee Diffie. Steve Letarte stays in it. They've got a new intro. I haven't watched it yet. Some good energy heading into this weekend with the broadcast switch up from TNT, who is kind of middle of the pack, I feel like, in terms of their production quality. Going to miss Dale Jr. for the end of the year, but excited just for NBC to be back, and we know how good of a job they're going to do. Lines on the bottom of your screen, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. They are not the best lines. I already told you earlier, I took Kyle Larson 5-1. That's a rarity for me to do earlier in the week. But I think it's worth it. I think if he goes out and wins the poll, he'll be 3-1. I think there's big potential for Larson to come out here, dominate this weekend. Look at how he's done in the short tracks in 2025 and 2024 for that matter. This team, it feels like an effort to get better at Phoenix overall, right? And that's going to change in 2026, thank God, when we go back to Homestead for the finale. But when they're good at a lot of these short tracks and some of the flatter tracks, feels like an indication that we've got to get better at Phoenix to be the Penske guys if we get to that top four. So I think they're going to come out and make a statement this weekend. They're going to end their summer drought, even though they ran P2 at Indy. They just haven't won in a while Denny Hamlin has won and kind of taken over the top dog in the Cup Series at this particular time, I think. But 5-1 is worth it in my mind. So that's where we're going to start. Then we're going to go to Ryan Preece at 50-1. I'm honestly surprised this hasn't moved like I thought it would. It's still 50-1 on DraftKings. It's 50-1 on FanDuel. Take it on DraftKings because if the winner gets DQ'd and Preece finishes second, you'll win, right? So take it on DK as long as you get 50 to 1. FanDuel would be fine as well if that line shifts substantially. I just guess it's not going to. I figured it would have by now, so I think it's a good sign. If you want to get to that Preece number, that top 5 as well, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I'm on the top 5 for Ryan Preece. That has not moved either, 8 to 1. And I'm on his top forward. I'm on his top forward at 14 to 1 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Still has not moved either. So you might be able to get, I'm going to look at ESPN here, look at what their race props are. Top forward for Ryan Preece, 10 to 1 there. Never mind. Okay. So everything I got, everything I've already bet on is still available. Like there's been no movement, which is good, So be sure to check that out for Ryan Preece in particular. And you can get Kyle Larson 5 to 1 on FanDuel. Everywhere else, it looks like he's 4 to 1 or 4.5 to 1. He's 5 to 1 on Bet Rivers. Who does? They do consider post-race inspections, so always keep that in mind for the Canby books. They do count post-race inspections. So if you bet on Larson, he gets DQ'd, you lose. If you bet him on Canby. So I'm on Larson. I'm on Ryan Preece. I think emphasis play here this weekend. I talked about it on my kick stream. By the way, 12-hour Dale-a-thon coming up later this morning. Gonna be awesome. Gen 4. I'm not even switching out of this. This is what I'm wearing. All business today. We're giving away a Dale Jr. diecast over on Kick. That link will be below in the profile if you subscribe. Any subscriber on Kick during my 12-hour live stream on Friday is eligible to win this Dale Jr. 1997 Busch Grand National Series number 31 Wrangler Chevy Monte Carlo. So keep that in mind too, not to get too off topic, but emphasis play. Top 10 bets. FanDuel. I know we hate them. More and more people seem like they're getting limited. I've got the luxury of the kiosk in person. They can't limit me there. I mean, they can limit everybody. They can have a blanket limit, which they do, but they can't limit me personally, at least as far as I know, unless I hit for like 100 grand or something. But emphasis play for top 10 bets. Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek. Legacy Motor Club. I'm just going to keep it simple. Legacy Motor Club has been awesome. Legacy Motor Club has been way better than they were in 2024. These guys have legitimate speed. They're both top 22 in points. And Eric Jones, with all the bad luck issues he's had, even more impressive. I love both legacy guys for a top 10. Eric Jones plus 950 on FanDuel. John Hunter Nemechek, 12 to 1 on FanDuel. Those are easily the best lines. I mean, if you want to bet more top 10 guys, it's insane. Ricky Stenhouse is 11 to 1. He finished 5th here last year. Took some strategy to make that happen, but he's been good at Iowa throughout his career. 11 to 1 for top 10 on FanDuel. Next best line, plus 350 on BetMGM. FanDuel's top 10s are crazy. I know they suck in a lot of areas, but God, they have the best top 10 lines week after week after week. And for me this weekend, you want to bet on Zane Smith? Go ahead. One more narrative play, by the way, for FRM. 2 races in a row since NASCAR has won a pivotal part of that lawsuit against 2311 and FRM, where they took their charters away. Both races have been won by Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace. So if you want to keep riding that narrative, the lawsuit narrative, that would be Tyler Reddick, Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, or Zane Smith. One of those 4 drivers would win to keep the streak going for that particular narrative. So just keep that in mind. That's what the Zane Smith top 10 bet reminded me of. Anyway, my emphasis here is on Eric Jones, Nemechek. I think it's worth 2 units between those 2 guys. If, honestly, I'll be honest with you guys. If one of those guys doesn't get a top 10, you can come back here, tag me on Twitter or Instagram, and tell me to go fuck myself, and I will acknowledge it. I think I'm not going to call it a lock because I don't want to jinx it, because I feel like if football season's upon us, when I call things locks, the exact opposite happens. But I love those two bets. I think a Legacy Motor Club race car will run top 10 this weekend. I do, just based on speed. I really feel like, I mean, they have turned over a new leaf at that organization, and they've got legit speed. I mean, we can go all summer long. They've both been factors creeping towards the top 10. Eric Jones has obviously had a lot of bad luck, but these cars are good. I think that's the emphasis play of the weekend. Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek for a top 10. Also, bet these now because they've qualified really well. They have been a good qualifying team in 2025. We saw it at Indy, how well they practiced, how well they qualified. At least Eric Jones. I think Nemechek messed up his lap, but Eric Jones qualified well. These guys have big time potential. I mean, there's just big CLV potential here. I mean, they could close at 3-1 and 5-1 before green flag. So I'm in. And that's what I got, chat. I know this is kind of an abbreviated edition of Dale Center. I know we hadn't been on here last couple weeks. I really appreciate you guys for your patience. I've ramped up the content. If you follow me on all my other platforms, I've got a lot of content coming out this week, and I've got a lot of content coming out next week, and that includes a continuation of Dale Center on YouTube. It's just, when I'm not busy and when I am busy, it seems like the thing that falls off, the thing that gets left behind, is the YouTube content. It is. It really is. But we're going to make sure that is not going to be the case for the rest of 2025 and beyond. So, but that's what I got. I'm a big believer that practice is going to be very indicative of what we're going to see on Sunday. But before we leave real quick, we have Netflix racing this weekend, don't we? Yes, they're in Hungary. Okay. Let's make a parlay. We don't have IndyCar, so we'll have to do, if we want to do a 3-legger, we'll have to do Netflix racing. So let's do that real quick. Hold on one second. Yeah, let's make a parlay. All right. On BetMGM or probably DraftKings. Yeah, we can make 2 on DraftKings because we can do an in-race one just for Cup. We'll do that first. Let's go Larson top 3. I mean, that is a lock of all locks, right? We know that we think Hendrick Motorsports is going to be really good this weekend. Go Byron top 5, double Hendrick top 5, and then top 10. We've already got Ryan. We've got too much Ryan Preece, chat. We can't throw him on this one too. Eric Jones 4.5-1. I mean, that line is so bad. But for a parlay's sake, I kind of like this. I think we got a good chance of cashing this one. Larson, Byron, Jones, top 3, top 5, and top 10. I guess if you wanted to get more spicy with it, we can take Larson money line to win, and you get 62-1. Man, you can do a round robin. That'd be crazy. Throw a Josh Berry top 10 in there. Or you can go Preece plus 250. I kind of dig that. In a round robin, play all the outcomes. That way, if Preece doesn't get the top 10, you've got options. It's very degenerate. A round robin is very degenerate. So just keep that in mind. Maybe not expert advice. All right, now we're going to do a parlay. We're going to do a parlay with multiple series here. So I'm going to go. Let's go Preece top 10. God, I mean, plus 250 for a guy that's been a top 10 machine. They're just begging me to take that line. All right. Preece top 10. Carson Quapple top 5. No, Sam Mayer's plus money for top 5. Holy shit. Yeah. Sam Mayer top 5. That might be a max bet. Holy fuck. Okay, now we go to Netflix Racing. What? DraftKings only? Okay, whatever. Fuck it. Verstappen. 32-1. That's bullshit. Look at all this stuff. I mean, even FanDuel has all this shit. DraftKings, you're telling me, only has outrights? What? Who cares? It's not a real sport anyway. I guess I get it. All right. Wrong slide. There we go. Hey, thanks guys. Appreciate you. I know this is an abbreviated Dale Center. I think practice and qualifying is very, very important. I like what I have leading into the weekend, about 7 units on the line between Cup and Xfinity. Pay attention to practice. I think it's going to be very, very indicative, and I think we're going to have a big weekend. I mean, hopefully these bets are all we're going to need for a big weekend, but I know we'll add more based on who shows up and who doesn't. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for your patience over the last couple weeks. Hope we have a big profitable weekend. Once again, if I help you win money, please like, share, subscribe here on YouTube. If I don't this weekend, in particular with the Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek bet, you can come back and tell me to go fuck myself, and I will gladly accept. So everybody have a great weekend. Be sure to check out the Dale-a-thon on Kick as well later today.